Hi, Weird Media listeners. Really excited today because we've got an Emmy Award-winning journalist that covers New York City, and she's been covering the area for more than a decade. So I love New York. I think this is going to be a fun episode. Welcome to the show, Beckford.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh, so Checkey actually reached out to us about coming on the show because she's got a very specific pain point that she has when it comes to PR people, and it's actually the lack of direct contact, which I think is kind of a fascinating point that she brings up. So I thought we could start the episode kind of going from there. So Checkey, do you mind explaining to us what you mean by that?
Yeah, and thanks so much for having me, Jacqueline.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
I think one of the main things for me is that I would have thought, and I've been in the business for about 20 years, in New York City for 12 years. And even when I was in Sacramento and when I was in Illinois, but specifically here in New York, where you think this is this is the largest market in the country, you would be getting lots of pitches from PR people. And I mean more like personalized pitches, because when you see those mass email press releases come into your inbox, I don't open them, and I don't know a reporter who does. It's very rare that I will open one of those. So I would think somebody would, I don't know, email me directly and then have my name, something to that effect. Mention a previous story I did or something to just show that this is an actual personal email. Or give me a call. I'm sure somebody could find my number, or at
Oh my
least
goodness, we never had anyone suggest that. I love this.
I would, because the thing is, a lot of times when I'm doing a story, and let's be real here, I'm going to tell you guys, reporters are always looking for stories. Always, we're always looking for stories. I have to go into an editorial meeting every day at 2:30 or 3, whenever they decide to get together, and I have to pitch stories, and it looks good if I have actual stories to pitch. So
Mm-hmm.
um, we want those stories, and specifically, obviously, if you're talking about local news, we want regionalized stories we can do in our area. And even if it's a national story, you can still pitch that as well. There might be a way to localize it, or just do it on the national level if it's a really good pitch. But again, my pain point is that I don't get people contacting me. And I've spoke to other reporters as well. They're not getting contacted either directly. So it just seems really strange to me, that, I know that they send out mass emails. I know that they put it through different services, and they make it out there. I have a friend who's actually in PR, and she said, I used to work for a PR company and I quit. She was like, I could do this on my own. She quit because they were charging clients like crazy amounts of money each month, in the tens of thousands of dollars, and would basically only send out these press releases to, through whatever services they use, and then say to the client, we have 1 million views or something to that effect. And it's like, but nobody actually got any coverage. People weren't actually getting coverage. Now, I'm not saying that that's everyone. Obviously, there's a lot of really successful PR people out there. I'm sure you guys are as well. But it just feels like it's a lot of just like performative stuff, like, sending out those press releases in a mass email, but nobody actually like contacts you and pitches like really stories with heart, stories with people. Like, there's so many missed opportunities.
Wow, that's really well said. So with the like how you can probably tell by the subject line if something's pretty like just like not personalized at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
what are the signs you think? Like, how can you tell?
I
Just
think
generic?
it's very generic. I think one of the things that's missed too often is, not tying in news tie-ins, not using news tie-ins like, of the day or of the week, of the month. I don't care, but at least doing some sort of news tie-in, for instance. Here's like in New York, we have a migrant situation now. Hundreds of thousands of migrants in New York City, that have been bused here to the city from Texas and so forth. The city's struggling with that and trying to make that work. Who would I be looking to hear from? I would be looking to hear from, I don't know, migrant organizations, nonprofits who obviously need to get their names out there and get the word out there to get funding eventually, right? Um,
Yeah.
I would want to hear from those people, and yet I'm not hearing from them. I'm
Oh
like,
my
why?
gosh, call to
What
action,
are they
everybody
doing?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
even,
are they
even
spending
bus,
their
even,
time?
even bus companies, I'd be like, that would be a good angle, because
Mm-hmm.
the city actually put in a rule that they were going to penalize the bus operators as well. So, hey, somebody
Mm-hmm.
contacted somebody at NBC in New York or ABC in New York or CBS in New York, and pitch that angle of the story. It doesn't have to be that you're like focusing it on your business specifically, but on the industry and the idea that bus operators would be penalized for doing their jobs. But I haven't gotten into that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point too, because those are stories that don't even require a press release. They're just an email. It's just saying, hi, I
Yeah,
have an expert who can speak to this. Would you like to connect with them?
yeah.
Easy peasy, super
I think
easy win.
things can be accomplished without the press release. Honestly, I think most
Mm-hmm.
are fine just pitching. Just pitch the story. What's the heart of the story? Where's the person in the story? Where's the connection point in the story? And pitch it. And I think that would really, really, that would be enough for me. I wouldn't need anything else but that. Tell me, well, I would need other things than that. I'd need somebody to actually interview.
Right.
Right.
I need a chance to get B-roll, and yeah. And I also think too that a lot of people that I deal with in PR, a lot of reps that I deal with in PR, both in the organizational level, also in like the governmental level as well, specifically governmental level. It's amazing to me that they don't understand, especially if they're trying to pitch to TV, how TV works.
Mm-hmm.
To me, we think about the news cycle of the day for TV. We have morning shows, we have afternoon shows, and then we have night shows. I work on the night show because I've done that since I've been here, and it's actually a really great ship for kids. I have two kids, so if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that whoever you're pitching or whatever you're pitching is able to be done that day, like have that, or at the very least the next day, but have it so that the reporter is very much aware that you're going to follow through and have somebody for her or him the next day.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
good tip too. So
Yeah,
basically have that quick turnaround time.
yeah, it's a really quick turnaround. But if you're trying to do TV, that's why I think the prep work ahead of time would be really, really important. Like if you have a subject or your client, prep them ahead of time and say, hey, this is how this works. If they respond to us, they'll likely want to do it pretty quickly. And sometimes I get pitched and then somebody says to me, well, he doesn't want to, he's nervous or whatever, doesn't want to. I'm like,
Why did you pitch them?
fine. Right. It's fine. They can nervous all they want to, but you need to prep them. They
Mm-hmm.
should know that this is what can happen if they're paying you to get them
So
publicity.
odd.
So yeah, it's just amazing to me. I'm usually chasing down I have so many examples, but another one was maybe a month ago. There was a child with autism that had gone missing from his school. He'd literally just run out the door, and I was trying to find. So a couple of years ago, I was back here. So he ran out of the door. He made it all the way to Long Island. I don't know if you know.
Oh my
Basically, it's
goodness.
like an hour away, and he
Yeah,
came
it's
on a
far.
plane and done that. And a couple of years ago, there was another large story with a child who had autism in Long Island City that disappeared, and he unfortunately ended up dead. He was found
Oh,
in the river. Now, I was literally trying to find someone, any sort of advocate, any sort of. This story had been on the news all day, so I was trying to find for the 11 o'clock an advocate of some sort. I then was reaching out to the attorneys that dealt with the case, his mother's case, because the mother had obviously sued and the city and so forth, and just to get somebody to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what my day looks like. Is if I'm doing a story like that, I'm usually like just making cold calls and like trying to find somebody. So, I think that's something that if you're a PR and you see something like this happen and you represent a law office or law firm, call up the reporters at the three major networks. I think that would make sense.
I
So,
have a source for you
go for
for
it.
later.
Yeah.
I do have a source for you for later, a New York attorney, but she would deal more with
Amazing.
finance and debt. But that might be a good
Well,
source if because I know New Yorkers are struggling living paycheck to paycheck right now. I know that's kind of like a topic I've seen.
and
Yeah,
the peak
I can get you in touch.
millennials that I've seen come this story about them, the peak millennials are turning 33 and 34 this year. And there you go.
That's me and Britt.
So, great.
I'm a
That'd be
little
great.
bit older.
Okay. Okay, yeah, but you look great. Like, who knows how old you are, Britt? You look like not a day over 27. Yeah.
Aw. That's really awesome,
moving
though,
on.
that you two can connect in that way. Okay, so I have a question about you mentioned people need to be reaching out when they, put the two and two together. Where am I going with this? One question that we get often is if they should be pitching reporters or producers. Like, what does it matter?
Mm.
A, should they look at the job title? Or how does that work? What do you think? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you know what I'm trying to ask here?
Yeah, I definitely do. And ultimately, the decision each day comes down to the producer, especially
Mm.
the executive producer. He makes the decision about who, at least on my shift, what we're going to cover. So it would make sense to pitch the producer, although, and I think they might actually like that somebody's coming directly to them, because especially in the local news realm, they don't get a lot of that, because people always, kind of focus on the reporters. But I also think you're going to have more of a willingness with reporters, because they are the ones looking for those stories to pitch. I think you might have more luck. I would say do both of them, but I think overall you're probably better staying with the reporters and make, I don't know, pull a rabbit out of the hat one day and maybe try one of the producers, or try to get a relationship with one of the producers or something to that effect. But I think you're good. You're going to be in a better situation with the reporter. Producer's not a bad idea.
Okay. No, I
Okay.
like that
That's
answer.
great.
I don't think there's
Great
always
tip.
a straight,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
hard and fast rules in either of these industries, I don't think. So cool. Love that answer. Great. And then also, like you mentioned, loving phone calls. I just wanted to rewind and quickly pick your brain about that, because we don't get that often. A lot of journalists say, don't message me anywhere but my work email. Don't call me. Don't send me a DM on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. Like, email me. So tell us more about how you like to receive phone calls. I'm super curious about that.
Thing. I think that's so, but I don't understand how they'd even see the emails. I mean, for my email alone, I get so many emails a day because of the company, and I get my inbox is flooded with just stuff, all kinds of stuff from different departments and whatever else from NBC Universal, in
Mm-hmm.
addition to my newsroom and all that. So, and then the PR, the press releases that I'm not going to look at. So I just don't know where they think. I feel like if you're going to have a real relationship with a reporter, you're going to be somebody who has their number and text them. I would say, okay, fine. You don't want to call them. I'm not the biggest caller either these days. I would say text them if you have the number, and if it's a cell phone, try texting them and introducing yourself and saying, hey, you don't want to blah blah, but I'm with so and so, and I have this great idea. I think that would work for sure. And if you want to talk more, maybe we can get on a call together. I think
Cool.
but I just realistically don't know how I'm going to see their message.
Got it.
That's
No,
fair.
that makes sense. So it seems like you meet, well, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth again, but do you meet up with PRs often to kind of just relationship build, or you're shaking your head no? Okay, that makes sense. You seem busy. I mean, you have two kids.
No. On my end, I don't get the invites. I don't get any.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
don't know who in my station gets invites to meet up with PR people. That's what I'm saying. It's very, very strange.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I wish I lived there. That would be fun.
Yeah.
For people that get that, I don't know what it is, but I don't think TV. I don't know anyone who does.
Okay.
Now, source lunches, it's more so for like a police department, a police source, but they're not PR necessarily. They're
Mm-hmm.
sources. That's different, but not PR reps or.
Okay. I hope you get a lot of like texts and calls and invites after this.
Well, my phone doctor. Yeah.
My jaw is on the floor. You can't see me, but I'm just like, what? This is amazing.
And there's so much work that you could reach out to, and not just me or my station, but so many different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that all makes sense. I don't know if I have any more questions about press releases or direct contact opportunities. Like, you've covered it all, in my opinion, on that note. But Jacqueline, do you have any other questions about that before we move on to the good PR example?
No, I mean, I guess this could tie into what we're going to talk about next, but what kinds of stories are you looking for?
Anything. I'm general assignment, so I cover anything and everything.
Hmm.
And it could be featurey too. It could be a feature story. It could be a success story. Um, the one that I covered was actually through Madison Square Garden. They oversee, I guess they own Radio City Music Hall, and their PR people oversee Radio City Music Hall as well, and all that happens there. So they pitched that they were doing their first ever sensory friendly show, which is amazing. And not only did they set up, so we set up a time for us to come in there where they were doing one of their rehearsals, and they also had a Rockette who has a brother with autism. And she was talking about, so I got pictures of him and her, and she's like how much she loves it, but he really only watches on TV because he can't really be there at the show in person. And then they had, so it wasn't a day upturn. So this is where I'm saying it doesn't have to be a day upturn, but if you have something that's like newsworthy, and I just feel like I can't guarantee. I always tell them I can't guarantee that I'll be able to do this tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because my producer might have moved on to something else, and
Things move fast.
this is when I need it tonight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but this had a lot of lag time. This was probably about a week, and they had the first sensory show. I say we did the interview probably on a Tuesday. They had the show on like a Sunday, and then they provided the video and interviews with parents and so forth. And typically we don't like to have get video from other people, but this was worth it because they had interviews with the families. And you have literally a parent saying, "This is the first time I've been able to take my child to see something like this during Christmas time." Or during the holiday season, and it's amazing. I mean, that's who is not going to love a story like that? And
Yeah.
so yeah, I thought that was really, really great by them.
I
So tell
love
us.
that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just like, what a beautiful story. There's an emotional hook, and
Yeah,
I love even just to give the information to other folks maybe watching that have like somebody in their family with on the spectrum that they can go see the show. I mean, that's kind of cool.
yeah. Here's another one that is missed a little bit. Is there's a local school district that they have. I guess they were going to have the first performance of like Harry Potter in like high school, from their high school drama club, and they didn't pass that on. I mean, initially it was embargoed, but afterwards it wasn't, and it was not. The school district sends out I guess it's a newsletter each week, buried in the bottom, or like buried very, very deep.
Yeah.
One is looking, because nobody's reading those newsletters all the way through, but doesn't send out a press release, doesn't send out anything. And so this is just another opportunity where you could get great PR for your school. Somebody's going to do it. Believe me, it's not going to be the 11 o'clock news necessarily, but it would be in the morning show. It could be in the 11 a.m. show, 12 p.m. show. So I just feel like there's so many missed opportunities.
Yeah.
So many. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the Radio City Music Hall's PR team contacted you for that story? What was that process, or the behind the scenes look at that? The pitch.
Now that we're in contact, they can contact me directly. But previous to this, they contacted my assignment desk. So that's another route. We were talking as reporters. There's another route: assignment desk managers or just assignment desk workers, whoever's on the desk at that point. So they contacted him, and he was like, "This is really cool. This is a cool story. Like, you want to do it?" And blah blah. And I got that story. So I think obviously it's timely because of the holiday season, and it's something that they knew would appeal to viewers, and get it in front of somebody. So try the reporter, not the reporter, then the producer and the assignment desk manager. Actually, assignment desk is probably better than the producer, because they actually put it into the what we call the log, and it's in there and it sits there. So even if one producer doesn't want to do it, then another one might want to do it. Or another.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that like the news?
Good.
That's like news at blank, station,
Yeah.
Okay,
like
cool.
New York. Yeah. Or call the newsroom directly.
Yeah, another phone call. Oh my gosh, I love this. So what would you say are the most important things that a PR person can provide you with before covering a story?
I think they have to, like I kind of touched on this a little bit, but they have to have the logistics down. So we're gonna need a way to get video. We're visual format. We have to get video somehow, whether it's provided to us or we're going to come out there and shoot it. And we need a subject. We have to have a subject. So whoever has benefited from the product or service, or the person who is delivering the product or service, but we need a person. So you need to have your subject, your client, prepped. They need to know that this could happen today and that they'll be fine. It's not going to be live by any means. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll do retakes, but you need somebody to be on camera.
Cool.
We don't want the PR person on camera necessarily, so we would definitely want
Right.
the client. Yeah.
Right. Do you get a lot of follow-ups?
I don't. Not too many at all. Not too
Okay.
many. Not at all. Like I'm looking just for the initial contacts, much less the follow.
Right. Yeah. I didn't think so. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's see. What other questions do we want to ask? This has been quite different from our previous guests, so I am all about this. I love it because, like, we say it all the time, it's so nuanced.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if it's different in other markets. Honestly, though, but I said, like, I've been in Sacramento and I've been in Illinois, and it's been the same thing. One thing too I would note is, what was I going to say? I totally forgot how to brain freeze there, but I'll figure it out later.
No worries.
I do have a question. I noticed in the notes for the show that there's another story you did, kind of that bounced off of that first story with the Rockettes.
Oh, yeah.
What
Yeah.
was the Make-A-Wish found it? Was that a follow-up story?
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. And they actually they set it up so that she found out about it as she walked through the doors to meet in a private room, basically, where the Rockettes were practicing. It was two Rockettes specifically practicing to work with her, and she walks in and there they are, and they have a whole table set up for her with like Rockette shoes and like all kinds of things and all of that. And then they go through two numbers with her, so they're teaching her how to dance, the routine, and it's really, really fun and amazing. And again, that's something people want to see, especially around the holiday season. So make it happen.
Do they just call you when they want to work with you? Radio City Music Hall at this point?
Yeah, and obviously it's like, again, it's a set time of year for them because that's when they're
Yeah.
season. But yeah, if they have stories like that, we'll definitely go with it. Like this was a whole new realm in terms of the sensory friendly, and it's not often that you do have, honestly, Make-A-Wish too, where it's because there's HIPAA rules and all this other stuff. So
True.
it's not exactly like often that you like actually get to do stories like that. So
Wow, that's really cool that you were able to get that story.
Nice. All right. Well, we usually end the show, and I think I sent this over in like the general questions, but we usually like to end the show with a shout out to a specific PR person. Checkey, did you have that? Did you want to give a shout out to anyone in particular?
I have the name, I have the group, but I don't have a name specifically right at this moment in front
That's
of me.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
No worries. I can
Group.
edit that out. Yes, we'll definitely give a shout out to the group as well. Let's see. Is there anything else that you wanted to address while we have you, Checkey?
think of something and I totally just went.
I hate it when that happens.
Good. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Oh no, we'll give you some time. It's all good. We're not rushing us at all.
Yeah. We have time. I'm trying to think.
Well,
I
there
just
was
love all the tips you gave. They were really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when you guys pitch. Where do you pitch to? Do you pitch to your local reporters too, or?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I remember. I was going to say, even if it's a national story, if you pitch it to the local newsroom, we can pass it on, because I've passed things on to network before, or to like Today's Show or whatever else, and to their
Ooh.
if it's
How
an
does that work? I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
So you
email, I have everybody's email in my thing. So I just, if it's a national story and I think it's a good story, if it doesn't apply to my area, there's no real way
you'll
for me,
forward it.
no interest in it here, then I can send it on to the network, and they decide if they want to do it or not. But at least it gets, and it doesn't just automatically shut you down, because some people say, oh well, if I try to send to the network where I don't have a contact in the network, but if you have a contact locally, they're usually connected to
The bigger network.
the bigger network. And we're actually owned and operated by NBC. We're not an affiliate, so everything goes straight to them.
Very cool. I love that. Actually, I did have a question. It's something that popped in my mind when you were talking about, oh, this would be good for the morning show. This would be good for midday. This would be good for the 10 p.m. hour. I have an idea of how this works, but maybe for the more like junior publicists that are listening, how like is it audience based on what you decide to cover for those specific times? How does that work?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, not 100%. Like we do crime in the daytime too, but at
Okay.
nighttime the stories are typically going to be harder. You know what I mean? The stories are typically going to be harder news stories.
Mm-hmm.
The like I said, the
Like investigative?
like somewhat.
Okay.
Investigative pieces actually run in our like 6 o'clock show, 5 o'clock show. And we do have investigative pieces that are, obviously longer. They're not day of turns. Typically, they're going to be longer turns that run at 11 o'clock as well. But I just think oftentimes when you think of like a lighthearted story, it's typically in the day side, and they have more space for that too, because you think about it, they have a 4 o'clock show, 4:30 show, 5 o'clock show, 6 o'clock show, 7 o'clock show. Well, this week. So they have more space to put it in. For the 11 o'clock, we only have half an hour, so there's not that much space. So honestly, if you're trying your odds, I would say it's probably better to pitch to the day side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they have more space and more opportunity to do it, more time to do it.
Cool. That's good
Don't
advice.
forget about your nightsiders either, because your nightsiders also are desperate for stories. So
Very cool.
Cool, that's good to know. It's so fascinating to see the behind the scenes. I think in general, we talk to a lot of like freelance writers and more online digital journalists. So, Chucky, you're filling in like this enormous gap of information and behind the scenes stuff that we've not really tapped into. So, thank you.
yeah, and I think a lot of people that work in those spaces, even in this New York, this big market, they don't know any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
know the principles of PR and all that other stuff, and that's great, but they don't know how a
TV.
newsroom works and how all of that happens.
Yeah.
I do think TV has been largely ignored as of late because of the the move towards digital,
Yeah.
and I think it's like easier from a reporting standpoint to give them like a URL to like a story that was online versus if something was on TV and you can send them a clip, but But
Yeah.
I love TV. I think it's weird because it was the market, and then now it feels like an untapped market. Like it's almost gone
But even TV,
back a little.
we're moving to fast. We have fast channels. We have a fast channel ourselves. We're moving.
Cool.
We have Peacock and we have all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
we're adapting. We have the ways to put those stories online or in social media. So I wouldn't discount it automatically.
Good. Yeah, I feel the same way. I love working with newsrooms, and I actually think that it's not the easiest to work with if you can't do quick turnaround interviews, but if you can, I find that they're the most I've had the most success communicating easily because like you said, like emailing the newsroom, it's not like a big black hole. Like it is very common that I'll hear back from somebody.
Yeah. If
You
it's
know?
a story, if it's a good pitch, you will.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not like, I don't know. I just love it. It seems like we don't curse a ton on the show, but it does feel like a very no bullshit kind of environment where it's like, you got a good story, we'll use it, let's go, you
Yeah.
know?
Give it to me, man. Give it to me.
Yeah, I can feel the vibe. I like it.
Yeah. I love
Cool.
this. Oh man, I had one more question. That came to mind. You were mentioning you're adapting. Where can our listeners find you, Checkey? Like
Well, you can find me on
TikTok?
TikTok. Well, not so much.
That's okay. I don't like TikTok. It's just
I'm not
top
on
of mind.
TikTok.
And a couple of, who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. We'll follow that story.
I kind of dip my toes into TikTok a little bit, but definitely I'm on Instagram,
Cool.
Facebook, and LinkedIn, and what else is there? Yeah. So TikTok just a little bit, but mainly Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent. Great. We'll link to
Cool.
those in the show notes so our listeners can find you. Won't include your phone number, but we'll let them do that research in case they want to contact you that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks so much for your time, Checkey. Is there anything else before we wrap things up?
I think this is a great idea. I think finding a way to bridge sort of that the miscommunication and the communication that happens between PR and journalists is really really important. I think so much more can be done there.
That means a
Thank you.
lot, really. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.